All right, welcome, folks, to this exciting boys varsity Sorry, it is not a basketball game. I knew I was eventually going to do that. Gail will be happy. This is a baseball game, varsity baseball game here at the Pioneer Valley Regional High School baseball fields. Tyler Borbo tying his tongue, along with Lou Bordeaux. His tongue is not untied. Giving you the play-by-play action of this game. Lou, thank you so much for being here and bailing me out of such mistakes that I made right at the start.
Thank you, Tyler. Nowhere else I'd rather be. And good evening, everybody. Finally, the rain has stopped. Noah parked to the arc somewhere. Not going to need that for a little while, we hope. And despite 2 rainouts on Monday and Tuesday, this Wednesday night tilt is the game that was originally scheduled for this past Monday. The Hampshire Raiders are here to take on the Pioneer Panthers.
Yeah, and we're looking at a reschedule of a reschedule.
Say that 5 times fast.
Well, you know, if the rain kept going, it would have to be the broadcast that would be a reschedule of a reschedule of a reschedule.
And Ben Werner's on the mound. Pitch to Riley Florek, who's the shortstop for Hampshire. Lines out to Ethan Mothy in left field. 1 out for Hampshire. That'll bring up Vince Carr, the second baseman. Werner misses outside, ball 1. Jacob Seacard, the designated hitter, is on deck for Hampshire. Another line drive out to left field. Mothy right in front of the fence, corrals it. 2 big outs, a couple of long drives.
Good hustle out there by Hayden Gerard in center field, largely because Werner is on the hill. Usually Werner is captaining the outfield, but great hustle by both of those guys.
Yeah, the other components of the Pioneer outfield, we've got Jack Glazier in right field today. As you said, Hodis, Hayden Gerard, patrolling the hayfield in center, and Ethan Mothy over in left field. Familiar lineup for the Panthers. That's fouled away. Infield alignment, Evan Tipeniuk at first. Ethan Quinn plays second base tonight. Alex McClellan at short. And Jackson Campbell over on third base. Another foul, counts 0-2 on Seacard. Ben Werner on the hill and Braden Tipeniuk, BT, behind home plate. And that is your Pioneer defensive alignment. That one misses up high, ball 1.
After 2 days of so much rain and 2 games rescheduled.
High foul pop. E.T. with the sliding catch in foul territory to retire the side. For Hampshire, 3 up, 3 down, nothing across. We are in the middle of the first inning here in Northfield. Hampshire nothing, Pioneer coming to bat. Stay tuned for more Panther baseball right here on BNC TV.
Welcome back, folks. Bottom of the first inning. Pioneer making quick work of 3 batters.
Yes, indeed. Braden Tipeniuk, leadoff hitter for Pioneer. That is Ethan Kudelka on the mound for Hampshire. And he brings strike 1. Zach Fakos is behind the plate for Hampshire. Count goes to 0-2 on BT. Foul ball stays alive. Back on April 23rd, Pioneer played out at Hampshire Regional, came away with a 12-2 victory. That's Hunsaker at third. Across the diamond to Morin for the putout. BT out at first. Jackson Campbell, third baseman, stepping in for the Panthers.
And with some of the rain reschedules, this is the first game Pioneers had since last Friday, where they hosted the Greenfield Green Wave, took away a 6-1 victory on that one.
Been a good season so far for the Panthers. 12-0 out of the gate. Hampshire comes in with a 7-5 record. Pounded into the ground. Hunsaker gets it across the diamond. Campbell beats it out.
Man, with a hit like that, and any precious fractions of a second on fielding the ball, you definitely want Jackson Campbell as your runner for that. One of the quickest guys on the team, great hustle getting there on base.
And now he's going to be drawing the attention of pitcher Kudelka as he gets that healthy lead off first. Kudelka goes to first to try and keep him honest. And Campbell dancing around at first makes Kudelka balk. So he gets second base on the balk. We say frequently about the aggressive base running of these Pioneer Panthers. That was a pretty good example of it right there.
Oh, absolutely. They got great aggressive base running, and they also intentionally really try to strike up anything that can, catch your peripherals and keep you from focusing.
Alex McClellan lifts that one out to center field. Morrow puts it away. Campbell tags and advances. Panthers have a runner on third base with 2 out.
Nice sacrifice fly by Alex McClellan. Made sure it got deep out there so that Campbell had plenty of time to make it over to third.
Here's Ethan Quinn. Ethan playing second base tonight. He pitched that big complete game victory over the Green Wave last Friday. Takes that one outside for ball 1. We are in the first inning What a nice night here in Northfield. Lights are on. Fouled out a play down the left side. Ball and a strike on Ethan. He'll be followed in the batting order by left fielder Ethan Mothy. Watch that one all the way into the catcher's mitt, just outside, 2-1. Pounded in the hole. Ball gets away from the first baseman. Campbell scores. Panthers take a 1-0 lead. You know, sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. Floric at shortstop went deep in the hole, made a great backhanded stab, and just couldn't get the ball over to Morin at first base.
Did a great job of keeping it in front of him and staying with it.
Ethan Mothy takes ball one. Ethan Quinn leading off second base. 2 out here in the bottom of the first inning. Mothy takes that one on the outside corner. Strike one, 1-1. Quinn's off. Mothy swings, drives it to deep center. It's up against the fence, and it rolls over. It's going to be a ground rule double. Ethan Quinn was off with the pitch. Ethan Mothy continues his strong power season at the plate for the Panthers, driving one to the deepest part of the field here at Pioneer. Ball bounced over for the ground rule double. He's on second base now. That brings up Evan Tipeniuk.
Excellent hit by Mothy. You could tell that that was exactly what he was waiting for.
E.T. hits it out to left field. And Hogan makes the catch. Diving, sliding catch. That's going to retire the side. Panthers chalk up 2 runs. 1 runner left on base. We've got 1 inning complete here in Northfield. Pioneer 2, Hampshire nothing. Check out our sponsors here between innings. And stay tuned for more Panther baseball right here on BNC TV. know, Tyler, we got a big fiery ball up in the sky. I'm a little scared after these last few days. I kind of recognize it, but I'm not too sure.
That's how easy we forget when it's been gone for so long. It's
Wow.
nice to have the sun out even for a moment.
Absolutely. This is catcher Zach Fakos for Hampshire. Leading off here in the top of the second, he'll be followed by first baseman Phil Morin and center fielder Joe Morrow. BT keeps that one in front of him. Ben Werner taking his time out there. You know, between the rainouts and everything else, Tyler, it's been a while since we've seen Ben on the mound. And it's almost like when you're in a game situation, it's not the same as practice. So kind of getting his bearings out there. Campbell's got it. Over to Tippeniuk to retire Fakos.
Well, especially, you're talking about not quite like practice. When you have these rainouts, you still got to, do some practice, do some warm-ups, keep things together. And with the rain, you either warming up out in the rain, which I don't think anyone's going to do, or you're like practicing in the gym, which is, it doesn't give you the real practice experience. So it's got to be tough to, have the rain keeping you from having any, really fruitful practices.
Yeah, you're exactly right. When you're playing out in a beautiful baseball diamond like we have here in Northfield, and due to the inclement weather, you have to practice in the gym. It's just not the same. Get a lot of calisthenics done, that kind of thing, but there's nothing that compares with being out here.
Well, of course, I always encourage the coaches that that's a perfect time to review some BNC TV highlights.
Well, you make a really good point, and I can speak from experience that, during the high school hockey season. And
sorry, I was off on the count.
Morin strikes out looking. 2 down here in the top of the second, but these PEG Access broadcasts, certainly right here on BNC TV, but throughout the Pioneer Valley, I know FCAT covers the co-op hockey games, and that is such a tremendous tool for coaches to not only watch and learn about the opposition, but, certainly watch their own players. Center fielder Joe Morrow quickly goes 0-2. And the production values here at BNC TV, and I'm not saying that because I'm standing here with you, but they are second to none.
That is high praise, Lou, and I will gladly take as much of that as is willing to give.
Yeah, Morrow lines it through the box into center field. Hampshire with their first base runner of the day. This is Colin Hogan at the plate.
I always really love the advantage that it has to being a left-handed pitcher and facing the most common base. And just the awareness and the pickoff capabilities of being left-handed facing towards first base.
I got a little quiet there. I have an anomaly in my lineups. I'm just trying to make the numbers fit. This is Colin Hogan at the plate. It was Cam Hunsaker got the base hit up the middle. Foul tip into the mitt. 2-2 on the Raiders left fielder. Werner tries to catch him fishing on the outside corner. No dice. Full count. Ben Werner with that sneaky move over to first. You were just talking about it, Tyler. Sneaky move over there. Nearly had him. Great tag by Evan Tipeniuk. And that's high for ball 4. Hampshire, a little bit of a threat here. Runners on first and second with 2 outs in the top of the second. Right fielder Thomas Moore coming up. Takes strike 1. Into center field. Hodis has it. Throw to the plate. He's out at home. Great throw by Hayden Gerard. BT applies the tag perfectly, and that's going to retire the side. Hampshire does not score in the top of the second. We're in the middle of the second here in Northfield. Pioneers leads this one 2-0. Don't go anywhere. We've got more Panther baseball in a moment right here on BNC TV.
Welcome back, folks.
Yes, indeed. Welcome back. Brody Welcome, designated hitter, getting things started off for Pioneer. And we were talking in between innings, Tyler. At center field this season, whether it's Ben Werner, whether it's Hodis, I've seen Ethan Mothy over there on occasion. It has just been lights out for outfield assists this year for Pioneer.
Did they have one during the Greenfield game? Am I remembering that correctly?
They did. Welcome lines it into left field. Hogan gets the ball in quickly. And Pioneers got that leadoff runner on. Yeah, I want to say in the Greenfield game there were 2 outfield assists. More than likely by this guy, Ben Werner.
Well, if you remember it better than we do, please leave it in the comments on YouTube.
Bunt foul down the third base line. Not going to get into the hit that like button and hit the subscribe. You know where to find us, folks.
I think you're supposed to smash the like button, I believe the term is. And ring that bell,
the bell
so that yada yada. Hey, you know what? Don't touch anything except the play button. We like bringing this to you folks, and we appreciate you tuning in to this, whether you're watching it in the Bernardston-Northfield Pioneer Valley Regional School District area, family and friends abroad, or if you're family and friends on the other side of the mountain there in Hampshire Regional Territory. Happy to have you tuning into this.
Or worldwide on YouTube.
Hey, first time not on the closeout.
I got to keep you on your toes, Mr. Executive Producer.
Well, if it's not the Wi-Fi, it's you.
There we go. 1-2 on Werner. Kudelka with that quick throw over to first base. Welcome dives back in safely. And second baseman Carr fields the slow roller, throws Werner out at first. Welcome advances to second base.
Oh, nice job getting a runner in scoring position. And with one out, still plenty of opportunity to do some more damage.
And here's Jack Glazier. Glazier takes ball one outside. That one just missed up high. Jack Glazier hitting in the 9th spot in the Panther lineup tonight. Takes strike one. Ball gets away from Fakos behind the plate. Managed to keep it really close by, though, so Welcome did not advance. Counts 3-1 on Glazier. Kudelka had a little movement on that one. Counts full.
Welcome, no stranger to that similar Jackson Campbell. Just shimmying any shenanigans to catch the peripherals of the pitcher.
Pioneer, the home of the dancing base runners. Just missed up high for ball four. Jack Glazier showing an immense amount of patience at the plate. He takes first base. Brody Welcome still on second. Back to the top of the order, Braden Tippanyuk. BT grounded out to third base his first time up. Long foul ball out of play down the left side. Still have just one out here in the bottom of the second inning. New state power rankings were released yesterday. I know we talked about them last time we were here with you on BNC TV.
Yeah, there's been a few changes.
Yeah, last week we were looking at the Drury Blue Devils being in the number 1 spot, Pioneer at number 2. Drury has now dropped down to number 3. And defending state D5 champion English High is back in the top spot. Pioneer remains in second. Other local schools, Ware moves up to number 6 with a 12-1 record. That's up high, 3-1 on BT. Athol checks in at number 11. Greenfield Green Wave, number 19. And Turner's Falls at number 30. Line down to left field. It's a fair ball. Brody Welcome scores. Jack Glazier stays at second. It's an RBI single for Braden Tipeniuk. Panthers lead 3-0.
But what a good place to put that ball, and not to mention, as mentioned by the Pioneer center fielder Hayden Gerard, mentioning that it was a hayfield out in the outfield. Grass a little bit long out there. It's time for a mow. But that's going to drastically affect the ball. Between a little bit of dew on the grass and the long grass, that's going to eat up a lot of momentum.
Oh, it sure does. And you know, I've been on fields in my life that we wish they were hay fields. So, and the fact of the matter is both teams have to play in it regardless of the conditions. So I can certainly appreciate the Hodis hayfield. But I know Pioneer's up on top 3-0, and that's really what's important right now. Panthers with a double steal. I looked over at BT. I saw him running. I'm thinking, well, Jack Glazier better be running, and Jack was almost to third base. Panthers, 2 runners in scoring position. Slice down to first base. Morin fields and puts out Campbell. Another run scores.
Worthy sacrifice.
Panthers go on top 4-0. Tipeniuk advances to third base. Here's Alex McClellan. Alex flew out to center field in the first inning. That one's inside, 2-0. Kudelka took a little off that one. Alex swung right over it. 2 balls and a strike. Got 2 outs here in the bottom of the second. Kudelka drops that one in. Count is full. 3-2. That one's popped straight up. And in foul territory, Zach Fakos makes the catch. That's going to retire the side. In the second inning, 2 more Panther runs. We had 1 runner left on base. After 2, Pioneer leads this one 4-0. Be sure to check out our sponsors in between innings, and we'll be back in a moment right here on BNC TV.
Top of the third inning. Pioneer stretching their lead to 4 as we go into the third.
Ethan Kudelka, the pitcher, getting things started off at the plate for the Hampshire Raiders. First ball swinging. And gets right past Campbell for a base hit. Hampshire with their first runner on here in the top of the third. Going back to the top of the order, Riley Florek, the shortstop. Riley lined out to Ethan Mothy in the first inning. Got a little timeout over in front of the Panther bench. Looks like the umpire is over talking to Coach Kevin Leupold.
I think they might be talking about the same thing we might have been confused about. On our lineup, it looked like the DH was covering for the pitcher,
right,
who's now on first base, which means the designated hitter was for somebody else, and I think they might be just clearing that up.
Yeah, and I did see one of the assistant coaches for Hampshire walking back across. And now it looks like head coach Mark Baldwin. So there may be a little vindication on our lineup, Tyler.
Well, we do our best, and as we talk about the information and substitutes, that kind of info doesn't make its way out here into deep right field. So we kind of need to just eyeball things as we go along and keep up as best we can.
Got a pinch runner for Kudelka at first base, number 3, Colby Cabrini. And now we've got more lineup activity going on. As you can see, the Hampshire coaching staff making their way back over to the Panther bench. As I was mentioning the Maya Power Rankings before, Drury dropping from number 1 to number 3. Don't forget, weather permitting, these Pioneer Panthers will be headed out to North Adams this Friday afternoon for a 4 o'clock game out at Joe Wolf Stadium. And regardless of who's first, who's second, and who's third in the power rankings, 2 teams in the top 3 are going to make it a good one.
Also like to add, going on right now, well, it probably had already finished. I'm curious about the some of the details of that, but the Varsity girls, the softball team, went on the road to face off against Northampton, and I would say over the past few years that rivalry has been kind of brewing amongst them, and it's been a I don't know how you'd describe it, just a more savory win to get between the two teams as they battle it out. Just some games throughout the season feel sweeter than others. This is one of them, and Pioneer had beaten Northampton, hosting them here, I believe, a couple weeks ago. And so we'll find out. In fact, that bus you see going by in the background very well could be the girls coming back from said game. See if we can find out some info about that. But best of luck to them. Hopefully they're continuing with a winning record that they've currently have.
Yeah, it's been a great season for the softball team so far. And I will always remember that game we did last year that went, 4 3/4 hours? Forget the exact, I think it was 31-28.
It was a tough game. Oh, was that with Northampton or was that with Mahar?
That was Northampton.
Northampton.
Yeah. All right, well, I guess we've got things settled down. I see number 11 up there, and that is Riley Florek. It's nice to see white numbers on a red jersey. Able to differentiate who's who from our broadcast position out here in right field on the campus of Pioneer Valley Regional School. As I said, that's a pinch runner, Colby Cabrini, on first base for Ethan Kudelka. And that's sent into left field for a base hit.
Case in point of what we were talking about earlier, that hit had a little bit of momentum on it, and Mothy playing in a deeper left field, the grass just gobbled that up, and he had to come in pretty quick to grab that into shallow left.
Yeah, it's a great observation, Tyler. That was exactly what happened there. This is Vince Carr, second baseman. Carr lined out to Ethan Mothy back in the first inning. We're in the top of the third. He rifles one down the third baseline, foul. Counts 0-2. Panthers on top, 4-0. Hampshire, 2 runners on base. Big, sweeping, breaking ball for strike 3. Froze Carr right in his tracks. There's 1 out. That's a big strikeout by Ben Werner.
Looked like Carr had a, couple of reservations. You saw his body kind of move into swing mode and just thought it was moving towards the outside and hesitated on it.
This is Jacob Seacard. Strike 1. BT made that quick throw down to first base. Saw Florek leaning the wrong way. Couldn't quite pick him off. Another one of those big Ben Werner breaking balls. Counts quickly, 0-2. Foul tip. Seacard stays alive. Counts 0-2. 1 out here in the top of the third. Werner tried to make Seacard chase that one. He was having none of it. 1-2. Called strike 3. Great pitch by Ben Werner. Rang up Seacard, brings up Zach Fakos, the catcher. Zach's 0 for 1. First ball hitting. Foul down the left field line. Fakos grounded out to third base in the second inning. Werner with that breaking ball. 0-2. Just missed up high. Fly ball. Hodis is there. Puts it away to retire the side. For Hampshire in the third inning. No runs, 2 base hits, 2 runners left. We're in the middle of the third inning here in Northfield. Panthers 4, Hampshire nothing. please check out our sponsors. We are so glad they helped us out during the spring sports schedule here on BNC TV. And don't go away. We're coming right back with more Panther baseball. Stay tuned.
Bottom of the third inning, Pioneer doing an amazing job with 3 innings in a row, leaving runners on the bases with no score. No score by Hampshire, I should say.
I think you just did.
I did. I should say, and I did say.
This is Ethan Quinn leading off for the Panthers. New pitcher on the mound for Hampshire. That's Colby Cabrini. He went into pinch run for Ethan Kudelka in the top half of the inning. And on the fists, Quinn pops it up, and catcher Fakos puts it away.
So I wasn't able to track that down.
2 putouts in a row for the Hampshire catcher. Here's Ethan Mothy. Hit that ground rule double back in the first inning. Ethan takes that one outside, ball 1. You know, as we look up and down this Panther lineup, the seniors in the lineup, we've been so fortunate to see them the last few years and watch them mature, not just into great athletes, but great human beings. And Ethan Mothy right at the top of that list. Fouls that one back, 2-1.
Yeah, you mentioned that about these athletes, you know, growing up and through the lines, the lineup and whatnot. That, you know, think about the games that I'm covering, 4 years ago, and these guys might be a right field substitute, something like that. None of that matters at the moment. Nice hustle by Mothy.
Little nubber back to Cabrini on the mound. Threw Ethan out at first. 1-3 if you're keeping score at home. But yeah, the student athletes, and one of the most interesting or touching comments I heard back when I was doing the Green Wave play-by-play for ice hockey was one of the student athletes came up to me several years ago now and said, the magic to this was 50 years from now, I'm going to be able to show my grandkids this stuff. And, I certainly hope I'm here in 50 years, but I make no guarantees. And that these student athletes of the modern times are going to have this record of not just having played the game, but having excelled at it.
Of course, those grandkids will probably complain that it's not in some sort of 3D hologram.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm behind in the count. 2-2 on Evan Tipeniuk.
Evan Tipeniuk. Fly out to left field. Hogan puts it away. That's going to retire the side. 3 up, 3 down for the Panthers. Nothing across. At the end of 3 complete, Pioneer leads this one 4-0. Stay tuned for more Panther baseball coming up in a moment. Right here on BNC TV and worldwide on YouTube. Top of the 4th inning. This is first baseman Phil Morin leading off for Hampshire. Currently trailing 4-0. Counts 0-2. Talked about Ben Werner's rhythm earlier on, and it certainly looks like He's gotten more comfortable out there. Swung on and missed, strike 3. Ball hit the ground. Braden throws down to Evan for the putout. And we've got 1 out.
You know, we talked a little bit during the last game, Pioneer v. Greenfield, and Ethan Quinn just looking like he was settling into his zone later on in the inning.
Alex has it. Over to first base. Nice stretch by E.T. That was Cam Hunsaker. Nice defensive play on both ends of that one.
Another player seemingly just unsuspecting. Evan just does not look like the kind of guy who's going to be making these stretch splits off of the bag. But something I was saying earlier was that, Ethan Quinn pitching against Greenfield last Friday just looked like he was just finding his rhythm later on. He was there, but it just, you just sink into this perfect routine later on. And we're seeing Ben Werner in every inning. He's getting better and better and sinking more into that good routine of his pitching. So seeing it from both of them.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Tyler. And you talk about Ethan on the mound last week against the Green Wave. That game probably could have gone another 3 or 4 innings if necessary, and I'm sure he would have pitched every single one. Benny on the mound tonight. He's got a 3-1 count now, but he's locked in. He's got that rhythm going. He's got the Hampshire hitters guessing. And I just jinxed him.
Well, I think the one other thing to add to that is, Werner's got a heck of a club out here in the field, to back him up at the crack of the bat.
And that's what makes these Pioneer Panthers really a dangerous team for any of their opponents. We were talking about the batting order, and there are no free outs there anywhere. All 9 batters, and anybody who comes off the bench is capable of hitting the ball. But as we've talked about pretty much all season long, the defense has been spectacular this year for the Panthers, and it can be outfield, infield, behind the plate, on the mound, doesn't matter. The Panthers just have it all going on, and now we're into the last quarter of the season. It's going to be really exciting as we head toward tournament time. This is right fielder Thomas Moore. Speaking of great defensive plays, Moore singled in the second inning, and it was for naught when Hodis, from deep in his hayfield, made that great throw to BT behind the plate to tag out Cam Hunsaker, keeping Hampshire off the board. A couple of good pitches there. BT doing what BT does, good framing job. Count goes full. It's into center field for a base hit. Hogan advances to second. Moore on at first. And with 2 outs, that's going to bring up Colby Cabrini. You recall back in the 3rd inning, Ethan Kudelka reached first base, and Colby went in to run for him. Colby also took over on the mound. So this is his first time at the plate tonight. got a chance to help his own cause. Takes ball 1. Good location on that one by Ben. Cabrini went fishing, 1-1. Ben brings the heat, 1-2. Called! Strike 3, and that's going to retire the side. For Hampshire. No runs, 1 base hit, 2 runners left in the middle of the 4th. Pioneer leads this one 4-0. Stay tuned for more Panther baseball right here on BNC TV.
excited to hear it. All right, let's come back in 3.
it's 2 out. My bad.
Unbelievable. Well, speaking of errors, looks like some of the music didn't shut off and the mics didn't turn back on, so we've missed a few things.
So the fans at home have missed our witty banter?
Oh, absolutely. I think they do that when the game is over. They miss our witty banter. I apologize, folks. I didn't notice it. But thank you to folks who are tuning in.
And Hampshire on the mound recalibrating.
There it is.
Looks like it's the end of the night for Colby Cabrini. Got Jacob Seacard coming in to pitch. Jacob had been the designated hitter. Saw him warming up down the right field line last inning. So in case you were unable to hear us, I don't know, could they see us?
They could see everything. I have a replacement trigger where the music comes up when the mics shut off and the mics turn on when the music shuts off, and apparently that didn't take.
Well, while Seacard's warming up, I'll let you know that Jackson Campbell led off, grounding out to second base. Alex McClellan doubled. After that, Ethan Quinn walked. Ethan Mothy singled after a couple of stolen bases. That drove in McClellan. And Quinn, a balk, got Mothy over to third base. And the ground ball that Evan Tipeniuk just hit to second let Mothy score. So we've got 3 Panther runs here in the bottom of the 5th inning. Panthers on top 7-0. And there are 2 outs. Just about ready to get back to action. Brody Welcome, the DH, going to step in for Pioneer. Not sure if there's been any other defensive changes for Hampshire. It looks like we got a new right fielder right here in front of us.
It is Johnny Angers in right field.
Here's Brody Welcome. Brody's 1 for 2 tonight. Colby Cabrini is now playing center field. Nice pitch by Seacard. Home plate umpire coming out for a little counseling session. I don't know, Tyler. Looks like a little hullabaloo and shenanigans. Not sure what this is about.
Love those old-timey words.
Got to do with the delivery because I see Coach demonstrating his foot position. Apparently the home plate umpire was not satisfied that Seacard was making contact with the pitching rubber.
Is that a just through the form unintentional balking or something of that nature?
It could be construed as such. Home plate umpire indicates the count is 1 ball, no strikes. That one's up high, 2-0.
Nobody left on base.
Nobody on base. Seacard bringing the heat, 2-1. Great pitch, 2-2. Well, looks like the conversation with the home plate umpire has not had any ill effects. Sweeper outside, counts full. And just off the plate, ball 4. Here's Ben Werner. Ben's 0 for 2 at the plate tonight. Seacard rears back and fires, 0-1. Just missed, 1-1.
That pitch definitely looked like something that you could see some batters being baited into chasing.
As we are wont to say, can't lay off that high hard one. A ball and 2 strikes to the Panther pitcher. Brody Welcome with a healthy lead over there off of first. Swung on and missed, strike 3. That's going to retire the side. Jake Seacard comes in, puts out the fire. But for the Panthers in the 5th inning, 3 runs on 2 base hits. 1 runner left. 5 complete here in Northfield. Panthers lead this one 7-0. Please check out our sponsors here between innings. And we'll be back in a moment with more Panther baseball right here on BNC TV.
All right, welcome back. I promise you the mics are on.
I don't know, we should have, maybe lightsabers or something over there on the Panther fan section, so we know they're hearing us. It's nice to know they're paying attention. So thank you, Mrs. Glazier, and hello to anybody else over on the Panther fan section that's tuned into our broadcast tonight.
Gotta say, if over the years of producing so many BNC TV programs, it's always a good reminder to know folks are out there watching. Just got to make some mistakes, and they'll let you know they're out there. But really appreciate you guys contacting us about that, and I apologize. Yeah.
Yes. There's not a lot of gossip in between innings.
No, we're either talking about wrestling or barbecue.
Which there's always an abundance of stories coming out of me. This is Zach Vakos, the catcher. Counts 3 balls and a strike.
I was about to say there's an abundance of barbecue going into me, and
well put, sir.
Yeah, counts full. But we appreciate our fans out there, and of course, a good easy solve to the problem is an ever-growing crew of people. You want to come out and join us out here in the scaffolding, watch the game, enjoy the commentary. Love to have you join. Give us a call, check us out, check out the info on our website, bnctv.net. Love to hear from you. Many hands make light work.
And that one was just low and inside. Fakos takes first base. That brings up Phil Morin, the first baseman. Phil struck out twice tonight. Panthers with a comfortable lead here in the top of the 6th. Don't want to say anything is insurmountable.
I think comfortable is a perfect word for that.
And I would certainly feel a lot better being ahead by 7 than being behind by 7.
Absolutely, especially when you're facing off against some solid fielding and solid pitching by the Pioneer defense.
Campbell's got it. Over to Quinn. Over to first, double play. Nicely done.
Case in point.
5-4-3 round the horn double play. Yes, it is 7-0. We've got 2 outs here in the top of the 6th.
Oh, excuse me.
Yes, Tyler, you make some fabulous graphics as executive producer of BNC TV.
I am so sorry.
This is Cam Hunsaker.
We are going to chalk this up to being burning the candle at both ends.
Cam's 1 for 2 tonight. Foul down the first base line. Two balls and a strike. Out to right field, Jack Glazier puts it away to retire the side. For Hampshire, 3 up, 3 down. Nothing across.
I can put up the graphic now, right?
Yeah, we could do that. And don't forget the sponsors. Panthers lead this one 7-0. Stay tuned for the Panthers 6th inning in a moment, right here on BNC TV. Bottom of the sixth inning, Lou Bordeaux and Tyler Borbo with you here tonight in Northfield. I don't know about you, Tyler. I love these night games.
I absolutely do. I love. It's a little muggy out here, but it is a perfect night for baseball. It's nice enough to be out here and feel comfortable in the short sleeves and the short sleeve pants.
This is Jack Glazier at the plate for Pioneer. Well, while you have your short sleeves and short sleeve pants on, I actually wore a jacket tonight.
It's that middle ground where you can go a little bit warmer, a little bit cooler, and still feel comfortable.
So maybe if I was standing, I could be in my short sleeves.
Maybe if you're sweating that the graphics aren't working correctly.
C-Card took a little off that one. Ball rolls to the backstop. We may have a new catcher now. No, I think that's still Fakos back there. Fouled into Souvenir Country by Glazier.
Well, akin to getting a little bit of a peek of a couple innings ago, seeing C-Card warming up down the first baseline, I do think I see off in the distance Alex McClelland doing a little bit of warming up himself, so we might see him on the hill to close out the inning.
That's a good eye, Tyler. You got the great camera shot of him over there. Just missed, ball 4. Some great patient batting by Jack Glazier. Of course, you had that good camera shot of McClellan warming up. And as I said before, he is the living Tide commercial.
Love that Ricky Henderson slide he's got.
I think upon graduation, he's going to owe the infield maybe 2 or 3 pounds of dirt. Braden Tippeniuk at the plate. BT 1 for 3 tonight. Single and an RBI back in the second. Sandwiched between 2 groundouts to third base. There goes Glazier.
He may need to tag up after reaching second base.
He's going to have to go all the way back.
Well, I stand corrected. I said earlier on there's nothing worse than trying to take a steal and having it thwarted by a foul ball, but nothing quite like making it all the way to the base on a successful steal only to have the fly ball make you have to go back and tag up.
You have a point there. Here's Jackson Campbell. Campbell's 1 for 3 tonight. Got a run batted in back in the second inning when he grounded out to first base. 2-0. Glazier goes. Slides in safely.
Great protection there by second baseman of the Raiders. Keeping the ball in the infield, making sure that no extra advances could happen. Great job doing that.
And now Campbell's on base with a walk. Raiders coach calls timeout. Meeting of the minds on the Hampshire mound right now. Panthers just have 1 out here in the bottom of the 6th inning. 2 runners on, first and second base.
This is a good opportunity to throw out let's see, another rain game that would have been yesterday. The boys will be back here Saturday afternoon at high noon, facing off, hosting against East Hampton High School. Not yet decided whether or not BNC TV can be there for that one. But should be a beautiful day out there. A great day for a ball game right at midday.
Here's Alex McClellan. Glazier's going. Another Panther double steal. That one's low in the dirt. Glazier stays at third. McClellan is 1 for 3 tonight. Had a double back in the 5th inning. We've got one out here in the bottom of the 6th. Panthers on top 7-0. Good pitch by Seacard on the outside corner. It's 2-1. Just missed outside, 3-1. Panther bench alive with chatter as it always is.
I always love hearing the grunts and rabble coming from the bench.
It wouldn't be Panther baseball without that. I think the voices carry better at night, too.
Oh, absolutely. We may have to consider putting a mic right up there so that we can just hear some of that chatter.
I'm all for that. McClellan walks. Bases are loaded for Ethan Quinn.
And we're right at the meat of the lineup. This is not the part of the Pioneer lineup where you want to have bases loaded and one out. A lot can happen.
No, this is where you do not envy any of the pitchers who might face the Panthers in this situation. Bases loaded, one out. Quinn takes strike 2. 1 ball, 2 strikes on the Panthers' second baseman. Took that one outside, 2-2. Called strike 3.
Ooh.
What a pitch by Seacard.
Very important pitch there by Seacard. Got him the second out. Now it's an out anywhere.
But going from the frying pan into the fire, here's Ethan Mothy. Ethan pounded that ground rule double back in the 1st. Single drove in another run in the 5th. He's got 2 RBIs tonight. He's 2 for 3. Takes that one up high. Good pitch by Seacard, 1-1. Seacard's got the velocity that neither of the first 2 Hampshire pitchers had. Breaking ball outside, it's 2-1. Fouled away, 2-2. Tough spot for a pitcher to be in. Can't be too careful, but you can't be too aggressive either. It's outside, counts full. And as they say, Tyler, nowhere to put him.
And I'm pretty sure Ethan Mouthy right now really wants to put it in that same spot he did during the first inning.
Swung on and missed, strike 3. Great pitching effort by Jacob Seacard on the mound for Hampshire. For the Panthers, no runs, 3 runners left on base. We've got 6 innings complete here in Northfield. Panthers lead this one 7-0. Do or die time for Hampshire right after this on BNC TV. Top of the 7th inning. It's now or never for the Hampshire Raiders. And even though we saw Alex McClellan warming up, Ben Werner still on the hill, facing Colin Hogan. Just missed. 2-0. Hogan has walked twice tonight. He'll be followed by Thomas Moore and Colby Cabrini here in the top of the 7th. I might have heard some metal over there, Tyler.
I did hear a little bit of a ding. I don't think that's anything to take it to the shop for. But, yeah.
Just miss, counts full.
As we often talk, that's why we park way out here. Learn from experience to keep our vehicles out of that Kenny Loggins area known as the danger zone.
The danger zone. For the 3rd time tonight, Colin Hogan walks. That's going to bring up Thomas Moore. Moore is 2 for 2 tonight. Bottom of the order, getting it done for Hampshire. Fouled into the parking lot. Our momentary silence as we're waiting to see if we get that distinct sound of baseball against metal. Into the ground. McClellan's got it. To Quinn. Over to first, double play. 6-4-3 double play. Second one of the night. Second one in consecutive innings for Pioneer.
Panthers just throughout this whole game fielding like a textbook.
And we've got a pinch hitter up there. Campbell over to first base. That's going to do it for Hampshire in the 7th inning. 3 up, 3 down, nothing across. Final score, Pioneer Panthers 7, Hampshire Raiders nothing. Second straight complete game pitching for the Panthers was Ethan Quinn last Friday night against Greenfield. Tonight, Ben Werner, masterful shutout. Couple of blips along the way, but as they say, no harm, no foul. Great night for Ben Werner on the mound. Batting-wise, Jackson Campbell scored a run. McClellan scored a run. Ethan Quinn 2. Mothy scored a run. Brody Welcome and Jack Glazier all crossed the plate for Pioneer. Hit of the night was probably Ethan Mothy's ground rule double back in the first inning. But as we usually see, Tyler, it was a complete team effort. Everybody contributed tonight, whether at bat or in the field, and Pioneer goes to 13-0 on the campaign.
Well, very deserved win for sure. I mean, we saw what happened these 6.5 innings. Just Pioneer dominated in all the facets. Their fielding was crisp. Their positions were good. They got on base. They stole the just aggressive base running and scoring. They just did what they needed to do to get that lead and then just follow through the motions with maintaining it.
Yeah, and it's obviously, when you're 13-0, it's easy to say it's a fun team to watch, but this Pioneer Panther squad does everything so well, so consistently, that they truly are fun to watch and fun to be a part of. You can't say anything more about it than that. Now, as far as we know, the next game is scheduled to be that makeup this coming Saturday at noon. Not sure if we're going to be able to cover that one or not.
That is correct.
We got the road game on Friday out at North Adams, and I'm just going to double check the time on that. I want to say 4, but it might be 4:30. Joe Wolf Stadium.
I'm not seeing it posted on the 9th anymore. I'm wondering if they've already preemptively rescheduled it because it looks like there's some nasty weather coming through on Friday night.
Very well could be. Very well could be, Tyler.
And if that is the case, let's see.
Well, while we're fumbling through our papers and our phones,
we do know.
I will tell you that the Panther schedule is always available on Arbiter Live. Simply search Pioneer Valley Regional, and it will bring you right to the Panther page. Click on Boys Varsity Baseball.
I do know that regardless of whether or not this away game at Drury is happening Friday and whether or not BNC TV is covering this makeup game on Saturday, the next regularly scheduled game will be this Monday, that is May 12th, right here at 4 p.m., weather permitting. Varsity Boys are hosting Oakmont Regional.
Oh, that should be a good one.
And, well, absolutely. Talking with a couple of the players during the school day, asking them about, who are the biggest threats to the record Pioneer has going right now. And one of the teams that came up was Oakmont. And that is going to be that game on Monday. So no doubt looking forward to a hard-fought battle out here on the field. Hopefully it's nice and dry and sunny. Love bringing this to you, but there's nothing quite like coming out here and checking out the game, supporting these high school athletes.
Yeah, you make such a good point because Major League sports, even televised sports now, so saturated with advertising and all the accoutrements that go with it. Somebody told me that they went to a hockey game down at Madison Square Garden towards the end of the season and cost a family of four over $1,000 to go to a game. We're just so fortunate to be around these high school student athletes and the caliber of play. Yeah, sometimes you see some mistakes out there, but more often than not, especially these regular season games that there's no admission charge. It's definitely the best bargain going anywhere, anytime, anyhow.
And, more to that point that you say you see some mistakes, I've heard some people tell me that they'd rather watch, say, college basketball rather than pro basketball because, and same thing with football, there's mistakes, but there's also very interesting things that happen. There's not as much training to be so procedural and by the book, and that can make the game a little more exciting because the things that are unexpected happen.
Yeah, and for me, I've been very fortunate to be around high school athletics these last 11 or 12 years, and it really comes back to the purity of the game, and that's really what makes the difference for somebody like me, whether it's being at the Collins Moylan Arena in Greenfield, here at any of the fields at Pioneer, or even when we go on take our road show, Tyler, go to Turner's Falls or Mackenzie Stadium down in Holyoke. This is really where the game is played passionately, and there's nothing like it. So tell your friends to come out next time. Check that schedule on arbiterlive.com. Any last words of wisdom, Tyler?
I don't know if this is necessarily wisdom, but I really, really appreciate you being here, Lou. Coloring the program that we bring you and making it sound good, even though sometimes the graphics are inaccurate or somebody, I don't like to point fingers, doesn't turn on the microphones for half an inning. And but just really appreciate you being out here, and it's a great time watching these guys, and it makes it even more fun having you out here to enjoy the game with.
Well, I really appreciate it, and I'm I don't want to get too sappy or anything, but I'm really blessed to be around these student athletes, and these last, like I said, 11 or 12 years. Every single day, even when it seems like work, it's a treat. So I thank you for allowing me to be out here because it's just a joy and it's a passion of mine to be around this and to see these student athletes develop. Not just as we said earlier, not just on the field where they get to show their athletic skills, but to see the young men and young women that these student athletes really develop into. It's just an honor for me to be here. So with that being said, before I start getting all teary-eyed, for our executive producer of BNC TV, the most busy guy in Franklin County, Tyler Borbo, I am Lou Bordeaux, thanking you for your time this time. And until next time, so long from Northfield.
Hey!